See here with the Oasis for Natural Healing. So, we are going to talk today a little bit about being wired, tired, and some dizziness. So, yeah, so let's get into it. So, how many of you guys out there are, you know, brains just not turning off? Like it's going like a mile a minute, or you feel like you can't sit still, but yet at the same token, you are exhausted and you just cannot fall asleep and you go to bed, you lay there, and that mind just does not stop going. It's all over the place. And on top of that, maybe it doesn't happen all the time, or maybe it does. And the moment you roll over, you get so dizzy, or you move too quick, or you turn your head and you're like either you're spinning or the whole room is spinning and not fun. So, how many of you guys have felt like that? So, I've never, except one time, what was it, last year? I've never experienced dizziness, to be quite honest. Not like that, like, maybe here and there, like, when I got up very quickly, like, when I got up too quickly, maybe, but I can't really say that I've really ever experienced dizziness up until last year, and I would roll over, and it was like I had to grip the bed because I literally felt like I was moving in the bed and the like everything was spinning. My eyes were closed and I just felt like this whoosh, like this whirlwind. And for me, it was let's just say, having a practice, having a holistic practice, there was some other stressors going on, but it can be a little bit stressful. Any business owners out there know this, and even if you try to take, time out for yourself and do things, to you know, help calm everything down. Life just happens. Let's just be honest. Life happens. Things can get a little bit stressful. So, and my adrenal glands, so I see a practitioner and my adrenal glands were going a Mach 40. They were going a mile a minute, nonstop. They were like on overdrive. And I got dizzy and it was really bad. And I was like, oh, this is what dizziness feels like. I never vertigo or whatever. I'm like, this is what this feels like because I've never really experienced it, not like that before. So, I would hear patients talk about it, but I didn't know what they were going through because I've never had it before. Let me tell you, it is not fun. It is not fun. And I remember I was actually at a muscle testing workshop. Where the heck was I? Yeah, I was at a muscle testing workshop and I had one of my mentors muscle testing me and I went to go lay down and I got really dizzy. She was done and she's like, "Yep, your adrenal glands are going a mile a minute." And I went to go sit up. I had to hold on. I thought I was going to fall off the table, the exam table, because I got so freaking dizzy. Not fun. And there was just a lot going on that weekend and I remember being really, really tired and I couldn't fall asleep. I'm like, the mind just would not shut up. How many times have you guys had that where your mind just goes a mile a minute? I've had so many patients with that where it's like a chatterbox. It's like and it's like, would you just shut up? You're like talking to yourself, like, just shut up. Let me go to bed. You're so exhausted. You feel like you could stick Q-tips or like, toothpicks in your eyes to keep your eyelids open, and they just do not want to stay open, but yet you can't shut this up and everything is like nonstop going. So, how many times have you guys felt like that? I've been there myself. And a lot of times it's your endocrine glands and specifically your adrenals. It could also be your thyroid, but most of the time your adrenal glands are, pardon my French, pissing off your thyroid. So there's what we call Well, I like to call it the problem child. So, we look for the problem child in your body. So, in Eastern medicine, everything is connected. Okay. Everything can affect everything. Okay. Because it's like a whole community or a whole house, you know? Um, you know, sometimes, and when you have a house, okay, and you have like, your mom, your dad, the kids, and things like that. Usually, typically, it's the mom that keeps the house glued together. So, what happens when mom's not functioning properly? House doesn't get clean in most cases. Now, obviously, there's, uh, different things for each household, but typically there's the mom, if the mom's not feeling good, the house doesn't get cleaned, kids don't do their homework, dad, unless dad's a gourmet chef, and it's spaghettios and hot dogs for dinner, from dad, and everybody's like, when's mom feeling better? Mom, you fix mom and the whole house goes back to normal. Okay. Same thing with your body. So you can have multiple symptoms or multiple issues, but there's usually one culprit, one organ that is the problem child. And sometimes it's not even what you would think. That's what I love about muscle testing, because it's not usually typically what you think it is. And I've seen so many things like the liver, the eyes are being affected because because the same thing that is irritating the liver. So what we want to do is, once we find out what organ is not functioning optimally, we want to find out the underlying cause. Like, is it toxins? Is it food intolerances? Is it an immune challenge like mold, like parasites, like Lyme disease? Like, what is the underlying cause? Why is that organ not functioning properly? Because usually when you find that and you find out the underlying cause, that same underlying cause is affecting everything else in the body. So therefore, by fixing the liver, and this is what I was getting at, so you can have like the eyes and the teeth, coming up, and the liver is the priority organ, and you fix the what's causing the liver to be not functioning optimally. It fixes the eyes and the teeth, and you're just like, well, how in the heck is the liver and the teeth, or how is the liver affecting the teeth and the eyes? It's because the same stuff that is irritating the liver is also irritating your eyes and your teeth. Does that make sense? So we're not chasing around symptoms, we're getting to the root cause. And everything can affect everything in the body, which is really kind of interesting. And a lot of times that gets missed by Western medicine, because I can tell you, I never, ever, from a Western standpoint, when I was a cardiac ICU nurse, would have thought that would have looked for the liver and the eyes, for instance, or anything like that. Um, Things like glaucoma can also be from like the kidneys. Okay. And you don't necessarily think that, but yeah, it can be. It's just very interesting on how Eastern medicine works. So, the other thing is that, so yes, your adrenal glands can cause you being wired, tired, and dizziness, but I've also seen the nervous system. So it's what we call switching. So when your nervous system is switched, that means there's confusion in the nervous system. So you have two parts of the nervous system. You have your sympathetic, which is your fight or flight, and you have your parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest. In muscle testing, we look for something called nervous system switching. If the nervous system is switched, there's confusion. So, both parts of your nervous system is always on, but one is more dominant at during different times of the day than the other one. Like, you don't want your parasympathetic to be dominant during the day. You want to be functioning properly, right? You don't want to be extremely tired. You don't want to be extremely fatigued during the day. Maybe a little bit when you're eating, or your parasympathetic should kick in when you're eating, because you want your digestive system to relax. Because if it cannot relax, then peristalsis, so your gut cannot move. You don't have good gut motility or mobility. Okay. So Um, when they're switching, you can actually have one more dominant when it should not be, and vice versa. So what does that look like? So your instead of your parasympathetic being dominant more when you're getting ready for bed, your sympathetic is on an overdrive. That's more dominant. So now you're wired. You're in fight or flight mode rather than your rest and digest mode. Okay. So you can wind up being more tired during the day. You can wind up having um, constipation because you can have poor gut like digestion, when you're eating food because your parasympathetic should be kicking in, okay, when you're eating. Um, so your nervous system can be switched. You can have opposite reactions to supplements and medications. So think of ADD, ADHD kids. They don't have ADD, ADHD. Their nervous system is switched. You give them caffeine, it calms them down. It has an opposite reaction. For most people, you give them Benadryl and it makes them sleepy. But there's a few people where it makes them wired. Why? Probably because their nervous system is switched. Or you give somebody blood pressure medication, and instead of causing it to lower the blood pressure, it causes an elevation in blood pressure. So they're having an opposite reaction. Chances are their nervous system is switched. What can cause nervous system switching? Food intolerances. So eating foods that cause inflammation within the body. Heavy metals. Where do we get heavy metals? From tons of different places. Okay. So we get heavy metals from poor mineral supplements. They're more toxic. We get heavy metals from utilities or utensils that we use or cookware. Okay. So we got heavy chemicals from there. So forever chemicals. I'm sure you guys have heard some of this stuff. So Teflon, all that stuff, plastics. So heavy metals are in a lot of different things. Okay. Aluminum, deodorant. So there are some in vaccines. So heavy metals and heavy chemicals are in vaccines, formaldehyde. So some of these are in makeup products. So read your labels, makeup products, skincare products, things like that. So toothbrush, foods even have some of this nonsense in there. A lot of heavy metals and heavy chemicals. So this can cause nervous system switching. Parasites can cause nervous system switching. Okay. Um, Lyme disease can cause nervous system switching, mold, vaccines, because again, what's in the vaccines? So it's not just the virus that you guys think that you're protecting yourselves from, it's all the toxins that are in the vaccine that can irritate the nervous system. So let's see what else can. Certain organs can, if they're on overdrive, so if it can have a reaction to the nervous system. So the nervous system can affect organs, right? It's like the hard drive to the computer system. It can affect organs, but organs can be so dysfunctional that they can irritate the nervous system as well. I've seen that happen. Okay, so we want to find out the underlying cause, and then we want to use nutritional support to help with that. So get to the underlying cause instead of putting these kiddos on ADHD medications with tons of side effects. Let's find out why they have their symptoms in the first place. Let's see if their nervous system is switched. So, and then find out why. That would be, something to worth considering. So you can again, this can also be causing you to be wired but tired and also to have dizziness. So let's find out why you have your symptoms in the first place. So if you're suffering, got some dizziness, you're tired, can't fall asleep, you're fatigued, you're irritable because you're not sleeping, you're anxious because that mind won't shut off and you're not getting enough sleep. Let's stop this vicious cycle because guaranteed you're not sleeping well, which makes you even more tired, which makes you more anxious because you're not getting the stuff that you need done because you're so tired and you probably can't think straight. So you got a little bit of brain fog on top of everything. Let's find out why. Okay, let's get to the underlying cause and help your body heal naturally. Want more information? Give us a call 708 554 6730. Have a good night, guys.